once you try to finish, most of the times you will fail. It's a fact. Don't try to go for the arm lock if you're not securing the mount first, because you'll get messy. And that's when, sometimes you can finish, but it's almost 50-50. You have to guarantee, you have a high percentage of submission rate. Secure maintain your control, and then go for submission. My favorite moves are there. I show the way that I like to go for the cross collar choke, my way to attack the arm. Is the one thing that I can, give you as an advice. Focusing a few things first. Don't try a whole massive variation of attacks, because you get lost. If I think of my attacks in the mount, I have one way that I use to attack the arm. Let's say 90% of the times is the same way. 90% of my attacks in the arm is exactly the same way. And then you want to work to make your attack efficiently so they cannot escape. My cross collar choke in the mount, maybe I have 2 variations, not many. You work them well. That's all you need. You don't need 50 attacks. It's one that saying that is very famous. I'm more afraid someone that practice a move 10,000 times than the other that practice 10,000 moves once. Enjoy. Okay guys, so now in this video, we're gonna work. First is about control. The one thing very, very important for you to have a good mount is you have to have a very good control first. There's no point you trying to submit your opponent if your control of the mount of the position is not well established. That's when they end up escaping and getting you out. So it's extremely important before you go for any submission, you have a solid control over your opponent. That is your priority. And once you have a solid control, then you look into submit someone. So you have stages in the mount. So I would say most of the times, over 90% of the times, as soon as you get the mount, as soon as you mount on your opponent, your body is very close to his. Like, usually your chests are connected, and then you step your leg over. That's the first position that you find you will see yourself in. So there's no point in trying to sit it high in the mount straight away. And it's a very strong control to hold the person low. And I'll show you guys to have your legs across his. So as soon as you mount, you can always expect the person to start jumping like crazy. No moments to stay mounted. As soon as you mount someone, you have to deal with the first few seconds of them trying all the escapes they want. They want to get you out any possible way. They'll start bridging, they'll start pushing your leg. So you have to deal with that few seconds of when they go mad trying to escape. So in the first few seconds, as soon as you mount someone, you have to straight away think holding them out. Forget about finishing. There's one finish that you can think once you have your arm over the person's head, which is the Ezekiel. Ezekiel is an extremely powerful choke, and it works beautifully as soon as you mount. I always try to get to the mount. I believe I have a very strong mount, and I have a very strong Ezekiel, but I would say most of the times that I finish on the Ezekiel is only as I mount. After the mount is established and the position is being developed, it becomes much harder because the person now he's aware of the Ezekiel. He can see it coming. But when you mount someone and they're going to explode to escape, they're not focusing on the Ezekiel and defending themselves. They're focusing on trying to escape. That's the best time to go because they're not prepared. They will, most of the times, they will give you an opening for the Ezekiel because they focus on escaping. So the one thing to look after, as soon as you mount, the Ezekiel choke, but of course only if you have your arm over the person's head. So, now it's, okay, what we do as soon as we mount. That's very important. What should you do as soon as you step over and you mount someone? how should you control the person, because they will be breathing, they will be pushing your legs. The one thing that they cannot do is overdo it, trying to escape, because then, okay, if he's not escaping for the first few seconds, that means your control is very good, and then if they keep insisting escaping, then is the time to attack. But after you establish the mount, if you try to escape for, let's say, 3-4 seconds, you're already stopping him escaping, because if you escape in the first 2-3 seconds. But after the fourth and the fifth, now he's exposing himself. He should stop and defend himself in an ideal world. If they carry on, they will open themselves, and then you go for the submission. So I can say that for myself in that position. Most of the times that I mount someone, I'm either with my arm over his head or over the body. So either I'm behind the head, and then the knees going in and trying to mount, and then you see yourself, in a very low mount, holding the head, or sometimes my body's over, and then I'm stepping the leg over. So either my arm is over his head, pinning the arm, and then I'm starting to go, and then my body is very similar. So here, my next step would be go back to the head. Because if I can hold the head, and now I'm going to cross my legs under his legs. If I can keep my legs crossed and holding the head, this is a very good way to secure the mount. It's extremely difficult for the person to escape here, because I'm almost kind of trapping his legs. See, my legs are closed. It's very difficult for him to put me back in the guard. For him to replace guard here, he has to make me uncross my feet and flat his leg on the floor. Now he's threatening, but he was able to remove my leg from under his. If I can keep my leg under his and he tried to straighten his leg, see, if I can keep my leg underneath,